Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Wednesday weather update for November the 2nd. And it's a hot day across parts of New Zealand with a warm night on the way tonight, warmer than last night. While in Australia, it's fairly cool with that southerly change coming through. Now, today's animated wind map puts on there the UV index. This is becoming more of a main feature as we head in towards summer, especially once you pass the spring equinox. Now, the colours in pink purple, that is the extreme UV level. That means a high chance of skin damage. Notice most of the North Island is now in that zone. And if you think you're safe down in Southland or Tasmania, where the colours are sort of more orange, that is still high. That's still a high chance or high levels of UV rays. Now, the areas that are green and the yellow, you can see them dotted around the place. That's where the cloud is particularly thick, so the UV rays don't penetrate through as well. You can see a long line here. That's a convergence zone between the cooler airflow coming out of Australia and the tropical airflow from the Coral Sea coming down over New Zealand. So a line of thunderstorms out there, but that's the reason why you're seeing that line without the high levels of UV, and low pressure here and in the tropics with thick clouds around them, thick rain clouds. That is also minimizing the amount, and similar story here on the west coast. Let's have a look at the thunderstorms at the time that we recorded this on Wednesday morning. Certainly you can see that convergence line clearly showing up. Tonight you might be able to see a few good thunderstorms offshore, but remember this is moving away from you, not moving in. Similar with these ones just near Sydney, and these other thunderstorms around Fiji are to do with that low pressure zone that is stuck nearby. Let's have a look at the rain for New Zealand. A lot of it coming for the west coast, just in this area right here. We're forecasting up to 300 millimetres. Met Service going up to 550 with their official warnings out. So that is a significant area of rain. The area does cope with it pretty well. I mean, these rivers, these big braided rivers, cope with a huge amount of rain. But when you're talking about half a metre of rain, and even if you're 100 millimetres out, there's still a lot of rain coming through in just the next 24 hours. Not much in the North Island, only a couple of showers coming through. By the way, we get a complaint or a question almost every day about the key colours. Why are there two different sets of blue? These are international global keys. We don't make them. They're made by scientists. There's a reason why they do it that way. Easiest way to figure it out, stop looking at a colour just on its own. Look at them as groups of three. When you do that, you won't have that problem anymore, because the low level is always surrounded by green and yellow, whereas the high level rain always surrounded by pink. So that's an easy way to remember it. So you can see most of the rain on the west coast, almost nothing coming in for the North Island. And here we are on Thursday morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, showing the winds. Again, it might be a bit overwhelming for some, but this is the main area through Cook Strait and the west coast up in the mountains there through the Southern Alps. Those are the two areas with winds that could get up to 120 or 130 kilometres an hour, but elsewhere in the more populated areas, not looking quite so bad. Wellington may be getting gusts just up to about 100 kilometres an hour in the morning. Here we are at lunchtime on Thursday, so you can see why it is windy in the New Zealand area. You've got low pressure just near Dunedin, you've got high pressure just up here to the northeast, perfect squash zone coming through. Now, the tropical portion of that airflow finishes overnight tonight, and so when you go through Thursday, it'll be a slightly different airflow coming out from the Tasman Sea. Temperatures will drop a degree or two, but it's still going to be warmer than average in most places except for the very south. You'll notice a cooler change coming through for you later on Thursday. By Friday, that convergence zone moves slowly northward, so there will be some showers around New Zealand on Thursday, but by Friday, northern New Zealand I mean, but by Friday they do mostly clear away. But you'll notice the temperatures down in the lower end of the country. That's because this big high over Victoria will be pulling down this airflow from the Southern Ocean, and it just brushes past you. So your temperatures do take a bit of a drop, but it's nothing too major. And in Victoria, I'm sure you're very happy to see that giant high. It remains with you until the weekend, but even then when it drifts out to the Tasman here on Saturday, it's still encouraging a mild nor'easter with dry conditions, which is, I'm sure, all you really actually care about. There are a few showers down the eastern coastline, caught up in the southeasterly on the top end of that big high. And the flip side is that for New Zealand, we have a cooler southerly flow coming through. But at this time of the year, sometimes that southerly is not cold. If you're in places like Nelson or Bay of Plenty or Auckland. That southerly can be quite a hot, dry one. It only has to turn a bit southwest for Auckland though, and the clouds come back in again. Now as we get to Sunday, the high is pushing in across New Zealand. A couple of showers maybe around Gisborne and northern Hawke's Bay. A couple of showers over here on the border between Queensland and New South Wales, and 1 or 2 showers in the hills. Otherwise, pretty settled. And the only areas in the tropics, a couple of low pressure zones, but no storms, nothing significant up there. So our final map for Monday shows high pressure across New Zealand with afternoon downpours. You're going to feel that nor'easter coming in, a little bit more humidity, tropical kind of conditions with downpours bubbling up. A trough to the north that's like a pothole in the sky or a low pressure zone that's trying to form. So you can see some downpours in there. This looks very La Nina-esque in the sense that it's low pressure to the north, easterlies for New Zealand, and cloud and humid weather for us as well. And the warm northerlies carry on across that eastern side of Australia. The next low over here doesn't look like much. A weird sort of area of low pressure with almost no rain with it. So there you go. That is the forecast through until Monday. A lot more settled